No, we do not feel safe, and I will explain you why. Because what we heard from Moscow about the threats to Russia, but in fact, there are no NATO soldiers, no NATO bases, no NATO missiles in Ukraine. In 2014, Russia attacked non-bloc Ukraine, violating all Russia's obligations regarding and international treaties regarding Ukrainian territorial integrity. So, when now we are talking about deployment of 8,500 NATO troops, it's about NATO members. While there are more than, as you rightly mentioned, there are more than 100,000 Russian troops surrounding Ukraine, also from Belarus, from north, from east, and from south. So basically, the question: if Russia doesn't want to attack Ukraine, why do you need such a massive, army preparation and really hysteria in Moscow about the threat from NATO? Definitely, we are concerned. We do not panic. Now you see what the ruins in I believe in Donbass, where Russian troops already are within Ukraine, in the occupied Crimea and in the occupied parts of Donbass. And regarding security architecture in Europe, yes, you are right that Russia actually put an ultimatum to NATO, not only about Ukraine. It also includes Sweden, Finland, but it also includes eastern countries of NATO, Poland, Baltics, Romania, and Bulgaria. Russia demanded to withdraw NATO structures from these countries and to stop NATO cooperation. So this is crazy, and it reminds me, because I studied in the Soviet Union, I was born in the Soviet Union, so I remember these spheres of influence in Europe. Basically, what Russia wants to come back to Soviet-type spheres of influence in Europe. And because this is a Turkish television, Turkish channel, I would like to remind you that when Stalin put territorial claims to Turkey in 1952, and Russia demanded to have a Soviet naval base in the Straits, what was the Turkish response? The Turkish response was that we need to have security umbrella, we need to join NATO. And that's what happened. So it's not the choice of Ukraine, because we have this huge Russian army which is threatening the very existence of Ukrainian state. We need to find this security umbrella. But the road to NATO is very, very long. Look, there are different views, but definitely there is an agreement that if Russia starts large-scale military offensive, this will be counterproductive to Russia. First, because of huge economic sanctions promised from the West, and second, because Ukrainian army now is better prepared than in 2014, when nobody expected that Russia would start to kill Ukrainians. So, for me, the probability of large-scale offensive is not very high. But we shouldn't write it off, because it's not clear what to expect from Putin. But what is more realistic is that Putin may have so-called limited military operation. He may use target strikes, missile strikes. He may try to not to invade the whole Ukraine, but to occupy, say, strategic ports in the south, in the Azov Sea, or some strategic point in Donbass. That's what he can do. And the huge question here is, what would be the Western reaction to that? Because there were hesitations. Large-scale war is one thing. When Putin is occupying one more Ukrainian city, this is different. So there were some hesitations in the West. But finally, United States said that if any Russian soldier would cross the border with Ukraine, there would be dramatic consequences for Russia. First of all, we mean here economic sanctions, and still we Ukrainians are concerned, because we do know what is in Putin mind. Putin actually denies the very existence of Ukrainians as a nation. This is crazy even compared to Soviet nationality policy, because as I mentioned, when I was in the Soviet Union, I had the Soviet passport, and there it was clearly written that I was Ukrainian. What Putin is saying that Ukraine is an artificial state, and Ukrainians is not a separate nation from Russia. So he's coming back to the ideology of Russian Tsar, of the Russian Empire. And in Russian Empire, yes, Ukrainians didn't have the right to call themselves a nation. Moreover, Ukrainian language was prohibited in the Russian Empire. So what Putin is doing, he's coming back not to the Soviet Union, but he's coming back to this ideology of the Russian Empire. And that's very concerning, because it seems it's in Putin's mind, such an approach.